Life is never made unbearable by circumstances, but only by lack of meaning and purpose. Viktor Frankl.
We've learned a lot about Chadwick Boseman's past and nothing about his future.
No.
Thank you, man.
Chadwick Boseman is instantly recognizable by his magnum opus role portraying Marvel's Black Panther. Whilst alive, what we knew about the way Chadwick lived was inspirational, but it is in his death that the world really began to appreciate the true strength of his character. How did a man who died at the age of 43 become immortalized as an icon of our age, revered by an entire generation, whilst only in the mainstream spotlight for a handful of years? In this video, we're going to explore how Chadwick was undoubtedly a great stoic of the modern era. Chadwick is a testament that you can be a captivating and magnetic leader, creating change whilst remaining true to who you are. To even begin to appreciate Chadwick's character and his practice of stoicism, we must first put his achievements into context. This tragic context was only exposed to the world after his death. Chadwick Boseman was diagnosed with stage 3 colon cancer at the age of around 39 in 2016. This was the same year that he was unveiled to the world as King T'Challa and Black Panther in Marvel's Captain America Civil War. Chadwick kept his cancer a secret from the world, other than a handful of his inner circle. Not a single co-star, producer, director, or studio Chadwick was working with had a clue until the day he died, sending shockwaves throughout the industry. When asked whilst promoting the movie what he had in common with King T'Challa, Chadwick replied,
I am a keeper of secrets, and I think T'Challa is definitely a keeper of secrets.
Chadwick's cancer intensified, progressing to stage 4, and within 4 years of his original diagnosis, Chadwick died in August 2020 at the age of 43. Within these 4 years, however, as the light within him was slowly dimmed by cancer, the Hollywood spotlight was shining at its brightest. Chadwick's career was skyrocketing, and his achievements were history in the making. It is in this space where these two realities collided. Chadwick forged a dimension where the worlds of life and death, fame and privacy, joy and pain, he formidably dominated in complete silence. Cancer is when abnormal cells start to divide and grow in an uncontrolled way. Colon cancer broadly concerns cancer of the large intestine. There are 4 stages of colon cancer. Chadwick was first diagnosed at stage 3. The survival rate at this stage is less than 50%. At some point in the 4 years leading up to his death, Chadwick's cancer reached the final stage, where cancer spreads to other organs such as the liver, lungs and brain. At this stage, the survival rate is less than 8%. You know what this means, right? It means that whilst wearing the heavy crown of being championed as the man that will transform an entire industry by portraying one of the most significant cultural roles in the history of cinema, Chadwick was invisibly battling with the very real prospect of not surviving the next 36 months. When Chadwick's actions and the way he lived are seen through this lens of adversity, the fact that he was dying, the magnitude of what he achieved is almost inconceivable. Chadwick prepared for, filmed and promoted 7 movies with compelling performances while silently enduring cancer. Chadwick Boseman lived life with the unstoppable force of purpose, and when faced with the immovable object of death, his purpose did not retreat nor surrender for a more comfortable or easier ending. Instead, Chadwick devoted himself with even greater intensity to that purpose with a phenomenal display of stoicism. With a failing digestive system, chemotherapy and surgeries, he still trained to perform high-octane stunts and present an enviable muscular superhero body the Black Panther role demanded. He quietly suffered the 100-degree heat in the jungles of Thailand, filming one of his final movies, The 5 Bloods. In Black Panther, Chadwick goes head-to-head in grueling fight scenes with a decade younger Michael B. Jordan, which few men in their prime could manage. Yet Chadwick does this so flawlessly that Michael B. Jordan himself had no idea he was fighting a cancer patient. Chadwick continued to present his distinguished smile, his kind and quiet charm in the long and arduous movie promotional and press tours. He continued to give his time and energy to exhausting interviews and premieres without complaint or signs of obvious struggle. As the world started to see him lose his Black Panther physique, he remained silent in the face of deeply harsh criticism and insulting comments about his appearance. He wasn't losing weight for a role or due to a lack of focus as many had speculated. He was a man slowly and quietly dying.
And Chadwick Boseman in 10 years.
Hopefully I'm just happy, you know what I'm saying? Hopefully I've, you know, done everything with my family that makes them happy.
We may never really know why Chadwick kept his cancer a secret and continued to endure the incredible difficulties that he faced in choosing to live the final years of his life the way he did. This video introduces only my thoughts. Based on everything I've discovered about Chadwick Boseman, I can only come to one conclusion. Chadwick had a purpose, and in his luminary role of Black Panther, he could help fulfill that purpose in a way no one in cinematic history had done before. Chadwick imbued a role both on and off screen which the world didn't realize it needed. I don't think Chadwick was pushed by purpose. I think purpose preceded him. Chadwick was pulled by purpose. I truly believe that Chadwick refused to accept his mortality would prevent him from fulfilling his purpose. And that's what empowered Chadwick, in my view, to ascend to the rank of one of the great contemporary stoics of our age. His practice of stoicism was fueled by purpose. So, what is stoicism? Stoicism is defined as the endurance of hardship and suffering without complaint. Whilst a simple practice, it's far from easy. Viktor Frankl, the inspiring World War II Nazi concentration camp survivor, writes in his timeless classic Man's Search for Meaning that happiness cannot be pursued, it must ensue, that you must have a reason to be happy. He describes how as human beings we're not in pursuit of happiness, but rather in search of a reason to be happy. He uses laughter as an example. If you want anyone to laugh, you have to provide them with a reason. For example, by telling them a joke or having them witness or recall something amusing. It's impossible to evoke real laughter by urging them to just laugh.
I love the way, I really appreciate the way your beard, somewhat connects from... I was just jealous.
Oh,
First thing I saw.
Likewise, to truly be stoic in the face of adversity, we must all have a reason to endure, to suffer, yet continue our own hero's journey. Living a life of stoicism and having a stoic response to the tragedies that befall us cannot be compelled. It must be drawn out by reason. It's easy to tell someone to be more stoic, to master their emotions, to control their actions, to stay silent when all they want to do is roar with pain. But we must have some reason that transcends us, some guiding force that gives us the fuel and strength to be stoic. Chadwick teaches us in his life and through his death that fuel, that reason is purpose. Friedrich Nietzsche said, "He who has a why can bear almost any how." Arguably, Chadwick's purpose was to induce greater equity in an unbalanced world. He was a hero of justice whose quest was to honor his ancestry and bring forth lasting change through his service on and off screen. This video isn't an exposition of Chadwick's purpose. What matters is that he believed and dedicated himself to something that was monumentally beyond him, a higher purpose. Pledge yourself to explore and understand what sublime purpose stirs within you a quest of a hero. It is this purpose that will truly empower you to practice stoicism, that will give you the sword of fortitude to cut through the hardships of life. It may take you a lifetime to unsheath your purpose, but it is in the discovery and heroic pursuit of this purpose you will come to realize the magnitude of what you are capable of and what suffering you can verily endure.
Purpose crosses disciplines. Purpose is an essential element of you. It is the reason you are on the planet at this particular time in history. Your very existence is wrapped up in the things you are here to fulfill. Remember, the struggles along the way are only meant to shape you for your purpose. When I dared to challenge the system, when I questioned that method of portrayal, a different path opened up for me. The path to my destiny. Sometimes you need to feel the pain and sting of defeat to activate the real passion and purpose that God predestined inside of you.
Chadwick was a quiet, private person like many introverts. His personality was an outlier amongst those found in Hollywood. Yet, he captured the hearts and minds of almost all those that interacted with him because he harnessed the power of his introversion and remained true to himself. Captain America's Chris Evans beautifully described Chadwick as possessing an internal nobility. Woven into the fabric of Chadwick's stoicism, and one of the great overarching lessons we can adopt from his life, was his preservation of a dignified and regal nature, no matter what environment or condition he found himself in.
You get to decide what kind of king you are going to be.
Chadwick walked the earth with grace. He was a man of humility, peace, and integrity, leaving a cascade of joy wherever he went. He embraced people with respect and had a continuity of calmness. In toxic factions of our culture, these attributes can be looked at with derision and inferiority, considered far from the way of the superior man. Yet, Chadwick, with his composure and poise, while suffering in silence and undertaking a private journey facing death, is a clear manifestation of how unfounded these views on masculinity are.
You're a good man, with a good heart, and it's hard for a good man to be king.
Those that interacted with Chadwick described him as having a regal authority, with his presence commanding an authentic respect. He resonated a creed of justice. Chadwick Boseman did not play King T'Challa. No, King T'Challa played Chadwick Boseman. How indistinguishable the character of King T'Challa is from Chadwick Boseman is remarkable, yet neither a coincidence nor a surprise to those that knew Chadwick. A simple yet profound example of Chadwick's magnanimity was his involvement in the Make-A-Wish Foundation and the visits he made to children's hospitals. In the final text messages Chadwick sent to Nate Moore, one of the producers of Black Panther, we get a glimpse into Chadwick's mindset in the months leading up to his death. Chadwick dedicated his limited energy to spending time with children suffering from cancer, showering them with his time and gifts, bringing T'Challa and Black Panther directly to their bedsides. The strength Chadwick would have had to summon to support and console cancer patients whilst he himself was dying of cancer is immeasurable.
For me, I would say, there are two little kids, Ian and Taylor, who recently passed from cancer. And throughout our filming, I was communicating with them, knowing that they were both terminal. And what they said to me is, and their parents said, they're trying to hold on till this movie comes. Just to experience those two little boys' anticipation of this movie. And when I found out that they yeah, it means a lot.
Chadwick unmistakably had a powerful magnetism about him. He was undeniably charismatic, and whilst holding strong views on the injustices he saw in the world, he was admired by almost everyone that knew him, regardless of their worldview. Yet, Chadwick was not loud or an extrovert. He was not publicly open with his life, nor did he seek fame or stardom as an endgame. Chadwick's character was on the verge of conflicting with what was typically required in the entertainment industry to be successful and monetizable as a leading man.
Told this story about how he gave up some of his salary from that movie to increase your salary because you weren't being paid equally.
Donated some of his salary to get me to the number that I had asked for, and never mentioned it, never sort of asked for any thanks. I, of course, towards the end of shooting with him, approached him and was just like, what you did was the most astounding thing that anyone has ever really done for me in that town, and is so validating and so generous and so respectful and dignified, and just eternally grateful. And he said, you got paid what you deserve to be paid, and that's it.
If you ever find yourself gripped by moments where you're wishing you could be less of an introvert, overly focused on your quiet nature, and longing to be more extroverted like those around you, remember Chadwick and the power he had as a quiet man, his charisma and magnetism, fueled by his pursuit of purpose. Chadwick touched the very souls of those he interacted with, not with what he said, but with his character. And as for Chadwick's confidence, he was the essence of what it means to be quietly confident. For what echelon of confidence must a man possess to keep his impending death a secret, so his quest to be of service to his purpose remains unabated until his last breath?
I want to ask a more personal question. I've been a little worried. You've been doing so much promo, so many films. When you get a break, what's the first thing you do?
Just like Chadwick's life of stoicism, his confidence was forged from his pursuit of a higher purpose that endures beyond him.
He did all he could do with what he was given, and he left it here for us to enjoy. Chad will live forever, period.